What's up, smarty people? It's KeysDAN with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Smarter. It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote, and maybe you could have me at your next event. You know I like to party with the people. Today on the program, interesting facts. Interesting facts about radio. Yeah, radio. I've been doing radio for so long. Oh my goodness, I enjoy it so much. Either terrestrial or online or even, this podcasting thing. It's fantastic. I enjoy it. Hey, if you'd like to tell your story or hear the stories of others while I'm talking about podcast, check out my other podcast. It's called What Makes You Famous. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. Hey, radio, when I first got into radio, it was, I enjoyed being a part of the community. And what better way for me, I thought no better way to be part of the community than to be on radio. You're helping to advertise for other people. You're breaking out, new artists and even established artists. If you're doing, musical radio, if you're doing terrestrial radio, you're keeping the people informed on their drives when they're doing things out in the yard, or you're a part of the community, and people call you and give you updates on what's going on the roads. You're helping people on their morning and afternoon commutes to and from work. It's pretty cool being a part of the radio community. Terrestrial radio, there's still something to it, even though we have lots of streaming and lots of the ability to record our own music and to make our own playlist and play them in the cars and even while we're exercising and what have you. There's still a place for terrestrial radio, and my little online radio station that I play music that I like, and I get to get music from new artists that I get to break out, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool being a part of the radio community, being a part of the community in general. Terrestrial radio takes care of the communities in their broadcast range, but in the online radio, who knows who's going to be listening to it? It can get listened to by anyone with internet access all over the world, which is a pretty wide range of people. I know I get messages from people all over the world telling me about them listening to my podcast and just to listening to the online radio station as well. But I digress. We're here to talk about 6 amazing facts about radio. Although radio is sandwiched between 2 revolutionary communication technologies, the telegraph and the television, the medium has remained markedly resilient. First broadcast at the end of the 19th century, radio continues to provide the soundtracks to countless commutes. However, its importance goes far beyond local shock jocks and top 40. It still underpins the modern world. And here are 6 amazing facts about radio, from its remarkable discovery to its transformation into a world-changing communication system. Number 1. Radio waves were theorized before they were discovered. The scientific community knew about radio waves before anyone discovered actual evidence of them. In 1865, Scottish mathematician and physicist John Clerk Maxwell predicted the existence of radio waves in a paper titled A Dynamical Theory of the Electromagnetic Field, based on the presentation he gave before the Royal Society in December of 1864. He also developed a set of electromagnetism equations known to history as Maxwell's equations. Although Maxwell gave due deference to his predecessor, Michael Faraday, who had discovered electromagnetic induction, among other principles of electromagnetism, many consider Maxwell's work, which predicted various waves along the electromagnetic spectrum, a pivotal moment in the history of science and technology. These waves remained theoretical for more than 20 years until German physicist Heinrich Hertz demonstrated radio waves for the first time in his laboratory in 1888, forever transforming the history of communication. Number 2. The first reported transatlantic radio transmission might never have happened. Although Hertz got his own unit of frequency for his trouble, the undisputed giant of early radio is Italian inventor Guglielmo Marconi. After studying the work of Maxwell, Hertz, and other influential physicists while growing up, Marconi sent a radio signal more than a mile at his estate in Ponticello, Italy in 1895. Sensing both opportunity and celebrity, Marconi took out several patents and demonstrated his system throughout Europe. Then on December 12, 1901, Marconi set out to prove that radio waves were not impacted by the curvature of the Earth, where with a transmitter set up in Newfoundland, Canada, and another in Cornwall, England, some 2,100 miles away, Marconi waited for the 3 clicks, the letter S in Morse code, coming from Cornwall to prove that his invention and the radio waves it produced could work across long distances. Accompanied by his assistant, George Kemp, Marconi believed he heard the expected 3 clicks, proving that his invention worked. Kemp also agreed that he heard the clicks. Today, many experts are skeptical that the pair actually heard the clicks, since Marconi had many motives to act as if they did, and Kemp may have gone along. There were no independent witnesses, and it's highly implausible that technology would have been capable of producing a transatlantic transmission at the time. It's likely we'll never know for sure what really happened that day. Number 3. The most powerful radio station ever was in Cincinnati, Ohio. In May 1934, President Franklin D. Roosevelt pushed a button in the White House, and the world's first superstation, WLW, came to life near Cincinnati, Ohio. The station used an 831-foot, 500-kilowatt tower capable of sending a signal halfway around the world. The project was designed as a temporary experiment to spread radio waves far and wide, but unfortunately, its immense power and operating cost proved to be too much. Stations far away from Cincinnati, but still within the range of the 700 hertz frequency, complained of constant interference. People living close to the tower also reported hearing the broadcast vibrating along metal kitchen pans, barbed wire fencing, or even bed springs. After 5 years, Congress decided 500 kilowatts was simply too powerful and limited broadcasts to 50 kilowatts, the current limit for AM clear stations today. Number 4. The first commercial was for a real estate developer in New York City. In August 1922, New York radio station WEAF created something that would change the radio industry forever. It broadcast the very first radio commercial. The ad spot was for an apartment complex in Jackson Heights, Queens. Although radio ads are an obvious innovation now, one worry among early radio stations was how to make money from the service, since people weren't charged for the endless stream of programming itself. Initially, ads may not have seemed like a profitable strategy given the limited number of listeners, but economics changed as more radios began to find their way into American homes. Between 1923 and 1930, the number of Americans who owned at least one radio jumped 60%, meaning that there were enough listeners for the radio ad business to be booming. Number 5. Radio is an extremely important tool for astronomers. Because radio waves are part of the electromagnetic spectrum, one of the fundamental forces of nature, stars, quasars, planets, galaxies, and dust galaxies emit them. Some of the earliest attempts to use radio to investigate the stars came at the turn of the 20th century, when astronomers attempted to pick up radio emissions emanating from our sun. Today, radio astronomy is an entire field of dedicated scientists pointing massive radar arrays at the stars in an effort to glimpse things unseen by the naked eye. One of the most impressive radio telescopes in the U.S. is the National Radio Astronomy Observatory. Robert C. Byrd Green Bank Telescope, located in West Virginia. The telescope is the largest fully steerable radio telescope in the world, and the machine is so sensitive to radio waves that Wi-Fi is illegal in the 13,000 square mile National Radio Quiet Zone surrounding the telescope. How about that? Number 6. The Eiffel Tower avoided destruction because of radio. It's hard to imagine Paris without the Eiffel Tower, but the iconic tower wasn't meant to stick around forever. Gustave Eiffel originally built his eponymous tower for the Exposition Universelle of 1889, and the city only leased the land to Eiffel for 20 years. After that, the land was to be returned to Paris and the tower demolished. Knowing the destruction in store for his precious monument, Eiffel set about to finding some way to make the tower both useful and symbolic. On November 5th, 1898, the Eiffel Tower participated in an early demonstration of radio when a signal was sent from the tower's tip to the Pantheon some 2.5 miles away. In the 20th century, Eiffel doubled down on transforming his monument into a full-fledged radio tower. By 1908, radio waves emanating from the Eiffel Tower could reach distances of more than 3,500 miles, and its creator had successfully proved its strategic worth. The Eiffel Tower then proved vital during World War I, as it intercepted radio messages sent by the Central Powers. Today, the tip of the Eiffel Tower is still home to various radio antennas. How about that? My beloved radio. There's 6 facts about radio. 6 amazing facts about radio. This has been What Makes You Smarter. That's it for this edition of What Makes You Smarter. Hey, if you'd like to tell your story, once again, I want to let you know about my other podcast called What Makes You Famous. It's interesting conversations with people just like you. So if you'd like to do that, just check out the What Makes You Famous podcast. Find it everywhere using the hashtag What Makes You Famous. That's it for this edition of What Makes You Smarter. It's KeysDAN, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace.